there's a very good chance that Alex Pereira versus John Jones does get made at the White House. That would be the biggest fight they can make in the UFC right now.
Если спросить меня, мне, конечно, хочется за второй пояс подраться. Для меня, никому не секрет, тот парень, который сейчас 93.
Chimaev has had Pereira's name in his mouth for a little while.
I'm not even opposed to the idea that the matchup would favor Khamzat.
The fight for me really is when Islam grabs a hold of Jack, how good has Jack improved? Because Islam is world class at that and has been for probably his entire life because of the way he trains and where he has come from.
One of the UFC's most feared champions, Alex Pereira, has set his sights on John Jones. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev and JDM are stirring up chaos that could reshape the entire fight landscape, while Khamzat Chimaev is making it clear he wants a piece of Pereira too. To start things off, Alex Pereira opened up about his decision to aim for a showdown with John Jones instead of Tom Aspinall. At this stage of his career, he's weighing legacy and opportunity carefully. A fight with Jones represents a massive moment, two established stars colliding in a matchup where both have everything to gain and very little to lose. Alex said, "I wanted to stay in my weight class because I care about my health. But I'm 38 years old now and I've got to think about my career too. Like John Jones said, Alex is much more important. I'm on the same page as him, we are both big names. If he loses, nobody really loses. It's all good." To make it even clearer, Chael Sonnen highlighted how this potential matchup goes beyond belts and rankings. He pointed out that what's on the line here is legacy, not just another title defense. For the champion, stepping into this kind of fight means chasing something bigger, the chance to settle a major debate and stamp their place in the sport's history.
That I'm only suggesting to you, you have a champion of the world that would like to go and do a fight that is not for the championship of the world, but he sees legacy, he sees the importance, he sees the ability to close the book on the idea of the GOAT. I get all of those things.
Adding another layer, Chael Sonnen questioned what happens to a weight class when its champion talks about being hurt and moving on. He suggested that eventually the organization has to make tough calls to keep the division active. Chael said, "I love that from a sportsman's standpoint, but I'll tell you, what do we do with that division? If you got your champion, that one is telling you that he's injured and two telling you he wants to leave the division, what do we do with that? At some point, we had to take a guy at his word, we got to pull that belt back and we got to get on with it." Echoing some of those thoughts, Michael Bisping weighed in on the situation, pointing out that at this stage of Pereira's career, staying busy makes sense. He acknowledged the massive appeal of a potential clash with John Jones, calling it one of the biggest possible matchups right now. Even though Tom Aspinall holds the belt, Bisping noted that Jones' star power brings a different level of attention.
You know what? At 38 years old, he probably wants to stay active, but moving up to heavyweight. And let's just be honest, there's a very good chance that Alex Pereira versus John Jones does get made at the White House. That would be the biggest fight they can make in the UFC right now. Certainly one of them. Pereira versus John Jones, would that be bigger than Pereira versus Tom Aspinall? It probably would. And it shouldn't be, because Tom is the undisputed champion, but John Jones has been around forever.
But just as the spotlight locked onto a potential clash between Alex and John Jones, another dangerous name threw his hat in the ring. Khamzat Chimaev isn't waiting on the sidelines. He's made it clear he wants Pereira next. And if that happens, the title picture could shift fast, forcing Alex to choose between legacy and defending his throne. To back it up, Khamzat Chimaev made it clear he's eyeing a huge challenge at light heavyweight. Confident in his abilities, he downplayed the idea that the bigger men pose a problem for him. In his view, stepping up for a second title isn't just a dream, it's a fight he believes suits his style and strength perfectly.
Если спросить меня, мне, конечно, хочется за второй пояс подраться. Для меня, никому не секрет, тот парень, который сейчас 93. Если стойки с ним не заигрываться, для меня очень удобный соперник. Да, все говорят, он слишком мощный парень, но где-то мощи я нигде не уступал никому.
Naturally, Michael Bisping shared his thoughts on Khamzat Chimaev's recent comments about wanting a showdown with Alex Pereira. He acknowledged Khamzat's dominant form and rising star power after his latest win, recognizing why such a matchup is intriguing. Bisping also praised Pereira's incredible performance in his last title fight, admitting it's hard not to see why this potential clash is generating excitement.
What he did talk about that I found very interesting was, he said that he wants to fight Alex Pereira next. Now, I understand that, of course, he just beat Lucas Du Plessis in dominating fashion. He is undefeated, and he is certainly one of the big needle movers in the UFC. That's without a shadow of a doubt. And of course, Alex Pereira is now the champion of the world again. What a stunning display that was against Magomed Ankalaev. I'll never underestimate Alex Pereira again. It's unbelievable what the man did. To beat him in that fashion, to shut him down like that, sensational. However, I do find myself kind of agreeing with the points that Khamzat Chimaev.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen discussed the growing talk around Alex Pereira potentially moving to heavyweight and Khamzat Chimaev's interest in facing him. He mentioned a conversation with Dana White about champions switching divisions. Dana acknowledged that once a fighter has achieved everything in their weight class, it's tough to hold them back. But Chael noted Khamzat isn't at that stage just yet.
Chimaev has had Pereira's name in his mouth for a little while. You and I got to sit down and speak with Dana the night before Ankalaev versus Pereira Part 2. Pierre was given some hints that he wanted to go to heavyweight. We just asked Dana about that. Hey, Dana, historically, you're not a big fan of guys leaving their weight class, particularly when they're the champion. But this year alone, you've allowed Ilya to do it and Islam to do it. And there's some rumblings that Alex would like to do it. Dana made a point. He just said, look, it's hard to tell some guys no when they've cleaned out the division. When they've done everything they set out to do, it's hard to make them do it over again. I just don't know that Chimaev is in that spot right now.
Furthermore, Chael Sonnen added that much of Khamzat Chimaev's success came at welterweight, and he's still fairly new in the middleweight picture. He pointed out that many top contenders at 185 haven't faced him yet, making a move up unlikely for now. Still, Chael respected Khamzat's ambition, noting that setting new goals is what drives elite fighters forward.
Don't forget, a lot of Chimaev's undefeated UFC record took place at 170 pounds. He's kind of new to 185. When I go look at those top guys at 185, they haven't had their opportunity yet. So I don't think that Chimaev is going to leave anytime soon. I think he's more just sharing with us. He's got goals. And when you have a guy that's a champion of the world, by the way, he needs to have a new goal. And if that's his dream and his drive and that's what keeps him going, I don't think we should get in Chimaev's way.
On top of that, Luke Thomas shared his honest take on Khamzat Chimaev's call out of Alex Pereira. He acknowledged that stylistically, Khamzat might have advantages in that matchup. However, he also questioned the timing, pointing out that Khamzat hasn't even defended his current title yet. Luke compared this to other champions who've built their legacies through multiple defenses before thinking about moving up.
Maybe not the biggest matchups for him in his own division. What do you think? Or do you think it's the fact that it's the matchup? The fact that Alex Pereira is such a good matchup for him that makes it.
I'm not even opposed to the idea that the matchup would favor Khamzat, at least in certain ways that are obvious to your viewers. But it's like, who cares? You haven't even defended the title one time. Like, what are we talking about here? Look at Pantoja. He's going for his 5th defense. Marav is 4th. And they haven't moved up yet. Like, this is such an absurd thing to say, especially at middleweight right now where, you know, I mean, okay.
Still, Chael Sonnen noted that Khamzat Chimaev has repeatedly mentioned Alex Pereira by name rather than just talking about moving up for another belt. However, Chael believes this is more about chasing champion status than targeting Pereira specifically. In his view, even if Alex moves up to heavyweight, Khamzat's ambition to eventually claim the 205-pound title would remain the same.
This isn't the first time that Khamzat has specifically associated himself with Alex Pereira. Khamzat has not said, I want to be the 205-pound champion. I want champ status. He has specifically gone after Pereira. However, I think that's a coincidence. I don't think he means Pereira, even though he's said that. I think he's talking about champ status. I think if Pereira goes to light heavyweight, Chimaev's idea of being champion at 205 pounds does not go away.
And while all eyes are locked on Pereira's next move, there is another storm brewing in the fight world. Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena are on a collision course that could shake up the pound-for-pound landscape just as much. Focusing on the technical side, Ian Gary broke down the potential matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, focusing on the stylistic clash. He highlighted that the key factor would be Jack's ability to handle Islam's elite grappling. While he believes Jack has the striking tools and movement to win on the feet, the real test will be maintaining strong takedown defense for the full fight.
The fight for me really is when Islam grabs a hold of Jack, how good has Jack improved? Because Islam is world class at that and has been for probably his entire life because of the way he trains and where he has come from. So can Jack stop that consistently, like he did against Bilal? Because he did a phenomenal job against Bilal at stopping that. But can he do that against someone who's just cleaner, more technical? On the feet, I think Jack wins it cleanly. I think he'll jab, switching stances. He'll have a bit more fluidity due to the fact that Islam's not going to be changing stances so regularly. So I think Jack can do it on the feet, but the question mark is, can he stop the takedown consistently over 5 rounds?
Adding to that, Dan Hooker showed respect to Islam Makhachev for taking on the challenge of moving up to welterweight to face Jack Della Maddalena. He pointed out that this move deserves credit, even as some of the division's legends never made that leap. For Hooker, it's a bold step that adds another layer to Islam's growing legacy.
A huge ask for Islam. Credit to him for stepping up to the plate and coming up to welterweight. He definitely got my respect for being able to move up a weight class and fight Jack Della. Like, it's something that even, you know, the greatest lightweight of all time, Khabib, who never managed to chase that accomplishment in being a 2-division champion. So credit to him, but it's a huge ask. Obviously, we go with Felbuch Jack.
As the dust starts to settle, the picture is anything but clear. Alex Pereira's path forward has turned into a battlefield of giants. Jon Jones stands as a legacy-defining opponent, Khamzat Chimaev is circling like a hungry predator, and Tom Aspinall quietly waits in the shadows. Meanwhile, in a completely different storm, Islam Makhachev's leap toward Jack Della Maddalena isn't just another fight, it's a collision that could rewrite the pound-for-pound order. One champion is chasing history, another is trying to break it. But here's the real question: does Pereira choose a legacy with Jones or defend his throne against Khamzat? Is Khamzat really ready to conquer 205, or is this ambition ahead of its time? And can Islam actually cement his dominance across 2 weight classes? Or will JDM rise to the moment and shock the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you love being ahead of the curve on every major fight move, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss an update.